How can you protest against the governments in a country where protests are not allowed? In my home country of Russia, the situation with free speech has gotten so bad at this point that now you can get arrested for simply standing on the street with a blank piece of paper, not even saying anything. We are at a point right now where basically if you want to criticize Russia in any way, you kind of have to leave the country because you don't want to end up in a gulag. And even though protesting in Russia has become pretty much impossible, it is actually extremely inspiring to see that there's a lot of young people that are still protesting despite all the restrictions, and a lot of the time that protest actually comes in the form of music. In Russia, an 18-year-old viral singer was just arrested for discrediting the armed forces of Russia and for organizing street protests simply because she performed banned extremist anti-war songs from artists who left Russia on the streets of St. Petersburg. Her performances of anti-war music went viral and attracted more and more viewers, and apparently all this has gotten so big now that Russia just had to arrest an 18-year-old student for performing some songs that the government doesn't like. So hey there people, it is your boy Roman, your favorite neighborhood Russian, and in today's video, we're gonna be talking about a new wave of youth musical concert protests in Russia, and why Vladimir Putin is so scared of a bunch of teenagers who have a different opinion. Now, if you watch my channel, if you follow anything that's been happening to Russia, you may know that the Russian government right now is heavily oriented towards brainwashing children. They have special patriotic classes in school now where they basically tell you about why Russia is the greatest and has never done anything wrong. Russia literally has a child army that it's building. I made a video about it recently. This is real. And overall, yes, the propaganda machine is definitely working on a lot of young people and children. However, I think it's fair to say that all Russian young people and all Russian children are actually brainwashed and are already Z and already want to destroy Ukraine in America and so on, because today we're gonna see proof of that. We're gonna see a different side of Russia and a different side of Russian youth that really hate everything that is currently happening. By the way, before we move on with this video, I actually wanted to share something really extremely important with you, and that is actually the Babushka plushie that I just released in collaboration with Makeship.
I have the one and only 24 karat gold Labubu.
明码标价的那些物非黑即白，坐上颁奖台，切莫张灯结彩。
Yes, it is a plush toy that is meant to resemble the classic Eastern European grandma character, the babushka that we all know and love. Headscarf, old clothes, mittens, she has it all. I actually came up with the design myself and then Makeship made it into a real thing. And I just wanted to be a nice cute reminder of, you know, that wholesome Eastern European home atmosphere. And these are actually out right now on the Makeship website. They're gonna be out for a limited time only, so if you want to get yourself or somebody else a nice Eastern European souvenir, then get the babushka plushie. And also, if you do get one, you support me and my channel. Babushka plushie, go get it. And now let's get right back into the video. You said, okay? Just like that, okay. So, here's what actually happens. This is the artist's name in question. Her artist's name is Naoko, real name Diana Loginova. She's a very young 18-year-old music student from St. Petersburg, and she just got arrested for 13 days as I'm recording this video. She's literally in jail for performing music by banned artists and foreign agents on the streets of Russia. Foreign agent is essentially a moniker that Russia places on people that publicly speak out against the government and disagree with it. Russia essentially claims that any Russian who might disagree with Russia is actually being paid by the West, of course. And while, for example, a kind of a similar law exists in America, the amount of people that get added to a foreign agent list is way less. In Russia, YouTubers like TikTokers, musical artists, TV hosts, and so on, who simply have a different opinion, these people are called foreign agents. And in particular, what got her to be persecuted by the government is her performing songs by Noise MC. Noise MC is a Russian rap and rock artist who is pretty well known. He's had a lot of hits, has been on the stage forever, and he spoke out against the invasion of Ukraine and left Russia. He took part in charity concerts to help out Ukrainian refugees and so on. And essentially, of course, right now he's completely banned in Russia. He's considered a foreign agent and actually even a wanted felon. And a lot of his songs have been actually banned and added to the list of extremist materials because he actually calls out the Ukraine war and the government in his music. So this right here is the video that went the most viral and got her in a lot of trouble. There's quite a big crowd gathered here, all jumping up and singing the same song, which is actually a song by Noise MC. And essentially it's a super anti-Putin song. Here it says that he sings that he wants to see ballet from the TV. He wants to see the swan lake ballet, and that we need to get rid of the propaganda and we need to see the ballet on the TV. The idea here is basically that in Russia, this is like a classic meme in the Soviet Union, whenever something was actually going down that the government couldn't show and didn't have propaganda ready for yet, what they would show on the TV is Swan Lake, like the ballet concert, right? Which is a Russian ballet created by Tchaikovsky, and usually Soviet people would see the ballet on the TV when the leader of the country would suddenly die. Or for example, when the Soviet Union was actually falling apart, people saw the ballet on the TV as well. So in the lyrics, Noise MC is basically saying that he wants to see Vladimir Putin dead. Those are the meaning of the lyrics, right? So obviously when you have a ton of young people scanning the lyrics of the song on the streets, you know, in the center of St. Petersburg, in a country where, you know, the government claims that everybody loves Vladimir Putin and everybody agrees with the war and everything, it's a bit of a problem, right? Like, you can probably see why this raised some attention with the Z community. And essentially the laws that she broke was, first of all, she has an administrative offense of organizing a massive gathering of citizens in public places that has led to the disruption of the order of society. So essentially, this is a law that Russia uses to fine people for organizing a protest. Because in Russia, if you want to protest, you have to file a request to the local governments and ask them for permission to protest. And if you don't have one, that means that you're conducting an unsanctioned demonstration and you can be arrested. And obviously, the Russian government does not approve any protest that criticize the Russian government. So yes, the Russian government is essentially saying that she organized the protest here. And also another classic, she has been given an administrative case for publicly discrediting the armed forces of Russia, which is a new law that Russia invented basically to not let anybody criticize the war in Ukraine. And here essentially it says that she was performing a song by Noise MC, Cooperative Лебединое озеро, Swan Lake Cooperative, which in 2025 by a St. Petersburg court was officially declared as information that is banned in Russia because it creates negative attitudes towards the members of the Russian government and the armed forces of Russia. So yes, this is absolutely ridiculous, right? And the whole thing here is that, unfortunately, I kind of saw this coming because I've actually seen some of these videos of these performances before this arrest. And the first thing that I thought when I saw these performances is that, man, this is probably not gonna keep going for too long. Basically, a couple of months ago, the singer Naoko, together with another street performing band called Stop Time, started performing anti-war banned songs by artists who have been kicked out of Russia and completely banned in Russia on the streets of St. Petersburg. And people would leave comments saying that this is extremely brave, and basically it became a big deal. These videos kind of started going viral immediately, with a lot of people saying, man, this is crazy, I can't believe that somebody has the balls to do this. And a lot of Russians were leaving comments saying that this is the first time that they feel heard, and the first time that they feel a part of something in a long time, because, you know, when you live in a country like Russia, where there's no free speech, where the government basically wants to say that there's only one opinion, if you're a person who disagrees with the government, you feel completely insane. You feel like there's nobody around you who feels the same way. You feel like an outcast of society, and they want you to feel like an outcast so that you turn Z. And for a lot of people, these simple videos of these young people performing these anti-war songs that are now banned and extremists simply because they call for peace, in a way these videos kind of gave a lot of Russians hope and a feeling that they're not alone. And as these videos kept getting more and more viral, Naoko and Stop Time actually created a Telegram channel in which they started announcing where they're going to be performing, and her fan base and her followers started growing immensely, and a lot more people started coming every single day. More and more people were coming to listen to anti-war music and to sing it in public and to make themselves heard in that way. And once again, this is something that you rarely see in modern Russia, because right now in Russia, the only people that are allowed to gather in large groups and wave their banners are the supporters of the governments, right? It's been such a long time since people who don't like the governments and don't like Vladimir Putin actually came together in one place, right? And once again, the fact that this is being done by the Russian youth, that Naoko herself is only 18 years old, and that a lot of the people who attended this concert were very young as well, around her age too, and she's kind of like a hero for these people right now. Once again, I think this does show that a lot of the Russian young people are not as Z as you might think they are, and they actually deserve to live in a better Russia. Now, according to the Russian media, the girl was actually reported to the Russian police by a member of the Russian State Duma, the Russian parliament basically, Mikhail Romanov. And this is a quote from a grown man. During the meeting this Tuesday on the 14th of October, my colleague came up to me and showed me a video where a bunch of teenagers are jumping up on the street listening to songs by foreign agents. My colleague himself is from Crimea, and he said that the song about the Swan Lake is being played in front of the Kazan Cathedral, and he was very surprised that something like this is even possible. After that, I immediately filed a report to the Ministry of Internal Affairs and the Investigative Committee, and also let the police know about this report and send them the videos. So, classic guys, classic. A country of professional snitches. And by the way guys, just for reference, this right here is what Mikhail Romanov looks like. So, look at the top of his head. That hairline is rough, gang. Prayers, you know. I think the only reason probably why he reported all these teenagers is that he's just extremely offended that the youth of Russia still has hair and are not Z dumbasses like him. Jesus Christ though, man, that's rough. So yes, even though it was a government member that snitched on an 18-year-old girl to the police for singing a bunch of songs, some Russian propaganda pundits are actually saying that it's the liberals and the traitors of Russia that are responsible for this girl getting jailed. So initially, one of the first Z pro-government people to bring up this whole thing was Marina Akhmedova right here, who's like she manages Regnum, which is like another Russian pro-governmental, you know, journalism, media organization, right? And she essentially was the first to post this video and say that, you know, these children are performing a song by a foreign agent who betrayed his native town of Belgorod and who supports the army of Ukraine. And essentially it's a bunch of drivel here where she says that if these kids knew the pain of people in Belgorod who are under strikes by Ukraine every day, at least a little bit, they wouldn't be dancing around to these dumb songs by foreign agents that are trying to shit on our glorious leader. That's essentially the whole point here, but she was kind of the first to post about it and liberal media started calling her out for being the one that kind of reported on the girl and got her in prison. So she actually made this post right here. She said that essentially that the liberal media is calling her out for being the one that snitched and brought the attention to this young singer. And essentially here she just says that it wasn't me, the video went viral without me, I wasn't the one who did it. It happened because Noise MC, the traitor himself, posted it. That's how people found out about it. And why did he post it? To show that in Russia people can still protest. And she's saying that foreign agent like channels such as TV Rain, they were extremely happy because they knew that if this girl is going to be arrested, it's going to be a great, it's going to be a great topic for a video. So yes, blame the journalists that cover what happens in Russia, not like the government for jailing people, right? But in this woman's opinion, by the way, Russia is right to jail 18-year-olds, by the way, for singing a bunch of songs. But this is actually my favorite part right here. Yesterday, the members of our team spoke with the mother of the singer because she's simply 18 years old and the mother herself brings her to these concerts. The mother said, "The swans simply mean swans, there is no hidden meaning behind this. But you shouldn't play everybody for an idiot." However, the problem of this whole family is that they think that people are idiots. We studied the social media of this singer. Previously, she used to sing songs about the Great Patriotic War. She liked performing songs by Lubé and Shaman, but they gave her no fame. And that is when she started performing songs by foreign agents, so that immediately the liberal media could pay attention to her, the same media that was crossing their fingers so that she doesn't get arrested. They were the ones who got her popular, she started getting donations, and the singer understood that being an opposition person is very lucrative. And that is the entire story of her and her mother. It is about being greedy. I mean, guys, it's incredible. Like, the Z propaganda people live in a completely different world where, of course, it is the most lucrative in Russia to become an opposition person and to sing songs that, you know, are against the government. Yes. It's definitely not the pro-government singers like Shaman, you know, the creator of Matushka Zemlya, right? It's definitely not these people that are receiving money from the government for making these patriotic songs that are supposed to, you know, justify the war in Ukraine. Those people are not the sellouts. No, the 18-year-old students who decided to sing songs by foreign agents on the streets as a form of protest, now that is like the greedy sellouts that is actually trying to just make a quick buck. What? Since when has it been fucking lucrative and actually profitable for anybody in Russia to be against the government? In Russia, if you want to profit and if you want to be in a good place, you have to suck the government's cock. Okay, that's how it works. It's fucking incredible, man. Absolutely incredible. But yes, right after Naoko, the singer, got arrested, her mom actually gave an interview, some comments to the media in which she said that my daughter doesn't actually support Ukraine, she didn't mean anything by this, you know, quite obviously they're just trying to kind of, you know, say what's right so that she doesn't end up in prison, so that the government doesn't pay even more attention to this case somehow and turn this administrative case and this small arrest for 13 days into an actual criminal case, an actual prison time. Because once again, this is something that is entirely possible in Russia. And obviously her mother is just trying to make sure that the girl doesn't go to prison. This is the fucked up reality of Russia, man. It's absolutely insane. So yes, guys, long story short, this is how cooked we are. In Russia at this point, free speech and freedom of protest is so bad that even being a busker, you know, singing songs in public could be potentially dangerous if you don't sing the right songs. And it's gotten to a point where even this form of protest is being shut down by the government. Something as innocent as simply performing music that promotes peace and like an idea of a different Russia by artists who were forced to leave Russia is no longer possible, and is already like, the government is already scared once again of a bunch of teenagers singing songs on the streets. I guess because the government does actually see these teenagers as like possible rebels and somebody who could protest against the government. And yes, Vladimir Putin is essentially afraid of a bunch of teenagers. So all I can say is that I just hope the situation turns out well for Naoko. And once again, I think the fact that this even happened is extremely fascinating, because once again in Russia you don't really often see people who are anti-government, anti-Putin gathering together because it's not allowed. And also I think it's inspiring to see these young people in Russia who actually want to see a different future, who want to be friends with the world, you know, even despite all the propaganda and brainwashing that the Russian children and the Russian youth are bombarded with right now. Maybe not everything is lost yet, I don't know. But yeah guys, I guess that is gonna be pretty much it for today's video though. If you guys did enjoy, then as always, please make sure to slap the like button on it. If you want to support me once again, buy the Babushka plushie, it's out now. Buy me a coffee, become a YouTube channel member and all that good stuff, it helps me out a lot. And yeah people, thank you so much once again for watching and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.